Humanitarian activist and former head of disaster risk management at the Palestinian Red Crescent Society. He joins us now from Ramallah in the occupied West Bank. Mahdi, really good to have you on this program. Firstly, your reaction to the announcement of a ceasefire deal and the first phase, which will hopefully be implemented within the next 24 hours.
Well, in this regards, maybe we can say the meaning of the ceasefire. The meaning of the ceasefire for the civilian is pausing the killing and the chance for people to live and to breathe. For the families in Gaza, this is the first moment since dozens of months that they didn't manage of the unimaginable disasters or suffering that they used to live. And even for the international organizations and for the health organizations, they will have a pause from this, and maybe they can rebuild their capacities to deliver the services for the human being people in Gaza Strip. So, as Palestinian, I welcome the ceasefire because to give the chance for the Palestinian people to live and to breathe.
Absolutely. And Mehdi, when you say or you talk about rebuilding the capacity of that humanitarian aid, how long could something like that take? Because for months now, there just hasn't been enough aid actually entering Gaza. When you need hundreds of trucks a day, how long could it take to actually rebuild such capacity?
Depends on the corridor for the humanitarian aid trucks to get inside Gaza. This is number one. Number two, as we all knew that the infrastructure in Gaza Strip is totally destroyed. So, in my perspective, it needs a year to be functioning very well.
Okay, so 1 year until you get back to pre-war
And because
standards.
of the huge number of yes.
Okay, sorry, just continue with your thought there. You were speaking about the huge numbers of people obviously desperately in need of this aid.
Yeah, because there's a hundred of thousands of injured people. So this is the main priority of those people to take their medication and their needed aids to be able to recover and to move to the I can consider it as a ceasefire life. The ceasefire should have to be an open door to a real protection and justice and finding a life for civilians who lost everything.
And so many of those civilians who are injured are also people who have disabilities. It means that so many haven't actually been able to leave their homes, especially in northern Gaza. But Gaza, I believe, also has the most amputees in such a small area. What now can be done to help them? And also, will some of them actually be able to leave the Gaza Strip to be able to seek help outside of Palestine?
Well, people with disability, they are the most affected people in Gaza Strip, beside the children and the elderly people, and for sure beside the women as well. Since during the wartime, many of them they are able to get or reach to a safe areas. Some of them they lost the access for their mobility aids or medical cares, and it's not well prepared shelters to receive often for the inaccessibility and as we know Gaza Strip it's a sandy area, so people with disability that are facing this type of difficulties. um, so people with disability in Gaza Strip, they are facing a double vulnerability. They are facing it since they are under violence, and they are facing the lack of the services that they are in need. I think this, yeah, I totally agree with you. During the wartime, there is a huge number or a huge percentage of people amputated their limbs or their hands, and they need a lot of aids to be delivered to them. Uh, the raw materials in Gaza for this lamps is not available. So the accessibility for this raw materials to get inside Gaza. This is the most important thing. And trying
Yeah.
to find an accessibility or an accessible modalities for them to be in their designated shelters.
And of course, so difficult because so many of the aid groups haven't been able to do their work. They're so experienced with the logistics and movement within the Gaza Strip to get help to those who need it most. But of course, there are many people in Gaza who are malnourished. People in the north have been facing a famine, which has been declared by the United Nations. So what is the process of when aid actually enters to get it to those who are malnourished, especially children, I would imagine? And it isn't something where you just start giving kids food or you just give people quote unquote normal food to eat. Is there a particular type of meal that people who are facing famine and malnutrition need to actually have in order to start getting better?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, so this long-term ceasefire or stopping the killing should have to be an open door for the protection and justice and dignity life for those civilians, which means that proper food based on the sphere standards should have to be reached and delivered to the people there, especially the kids, and even the medicines and medications, because there is not that sufficient amount of medicine and medications for even sick people. So the modality that the organization should have to use is reaching all the people once, which is not easy. I know, since the border is not well functioning between to Gaza Strip, and even the load of the trucks we hopefully to get inside Gaza will be very crowded and will be very needed.
And Mahdi, just finally, you actually left the Palestinian Red Crescent Society because of the murder of Hind Rajab. She was the child killed by Israeli forces. Why was her murder the event that made you leave that organization?
Well, the killing of Hind Rajab is deeply shocked me. And she looks like many Palestinian kids who lost their lives during the past 24 months. So when a 6 years old child trapped in a car and calling for help and there is no one can reach her, and we used to do this coordination with relevant authorities in regards of sending the ambulance. And when we send the ambulance to that locations, the ambulance were targeted by an Israeli tank and caused a death for two of my colleagues. So I can't handle it. I can't. And since there is no respect for the international humanitarian law for saving the humanitarian actors, that's why I decided to quit and to be a volunteer more than being in the management level in the Red Crescents. As well as still I'm working with the humanitarian aids. I'm not directing the ambulances to go there since there is no protection for humanitarian workers or frontliners from the paramedics of the Palestinian Red Crescent.
Hopefully all of this will change once the ceasefire is in place. Mahdi Al-Jamal in Ramallah in the occupied West Bank, thank you so much for speaking to us.